Hello everyone, my name's Paul. I work for a company called Micrographics. In Cape Town. We are an Autodesk reseller, and today I'd like to share with you my discoveries with regards to a note block tag that I created. It's not exactly a tag, but I've named it a note block tag. And this was shared recently with me by a client that uses it for construction notes. So I'd like to show you what this is and how we can use it as an alternative for either text with arrows or keynotes. And they've got some great advantages, just like keynotes do. And maybe this can help you also with your detailing of your construction notes in the future. So without further ado, let's jump into the process. First of all, if you want to create such a family, the process is quite simple. You would start that with a new family, and then you would choose the metric generic annotation family. There's also a metric generic generic tag, but it's the metric generic annotation that you would choose. The fact that you don't have an arrow on the annotation by default, it does generate an arrow within the project, so that's fine. You can just choose that. It gives you instructions that you can just delete the just wait for it to open quickly. It does give you some instructions. Change the family category to set the appropriate annotation type. So usually what you would do over here is you would go to the family and change something out. We're going to leave that as generic annotations just as it is. It says the insertion point is at the intersection of the reference planes, and delete this note before using. So it's very straightforward. You just delete that and now it's ready for us to use. And the essence of this family, I'll just start it and then I'll go back to one that I've completed. The essence of this family is that you will create a label that you can place, and that label you can create your own parameter. What I normally do is I put a prefix on there so that I can differentiate that and put that under, say, identity data like this. Bang, and we can add that. So that is a custom parameter, and there it is. All right, so there's one for the number and there's one for the description. And then what I'd like to show you is on a completed family what that would look like. I've developed this family a little bit further. All right, so here we can see the family. I'm just going to open that family for us. So again, it's just it's a straightforward metric generic annotation. And then in this instance of this, or in the case of this family, we've created three tags. And those three tags, if you switch on, if you look over here, you can see that we've got three different types. Okay, and inside of that we can see the number only, number and text only. Okay, that's the visibility of these items. So we click on on one of these items over here. There's the text. Then you can see that the visibility is linked onto text only, and so on and so forth. So these are instance parameters, and so you know that because they say default. And what that means is we can have these three showing up based on some other set of rules that we are using over there. So if we look at the label, there we can see we've got text and number over there. Right, that's just parameters that I've created. In this case, I haven't prefixed it, which is it's remiss of me. I should have prefixed this with the labels. But that is, in principle, what we are doing. And then within the actual family, which we load into the project, you will see those types showing up that I've created. Right, so I'm using R for roof and W for window. So if you look at the type properties over there, for new tech, the number is R1, and then the text is cornice on 6mm mutex ceiling with 50mm isotherm insulation on 38 by 38 brand ring space, 600mm center to center, maximum 2 to 8 by 38mm beams. Right, so there's an example of a construction detail. Just some text, some construction note. Okay, we look at the next one and we say, let's look at the type properties over there. There's the IBR chromatic on 76 by 50mm purlin space, 900mm max on notch 28 by 38 rafter space, 900mm max. Right, so there's another example, R2 there. So whenever we want to use that construction note, that's now a common construction note that we want to use. I'm just going to activate this view so this is looking at a building from the top, and we've got a bit of a roof structure going there. And I'm going to drag this in. I'm going to say this is going to represent the chromatic. So I place that there, and I press escape. Then I click on that tag, and I say I want to see. Let's do the full thing. There's the number and the text. Okay. So there's R2, and then there's the text after that. If I want to see the text in there, and if I click on that item, you'll see that you can actually add a leader to this generic annotation, right? And that's fantastic. And if you want, you can even change the leader type so that you can change the arrowhead over there, a full dot. There we go. Right. So there we can see IBR, and if we want to change that to show only the number, if we're struggling for space, there's the number only. Right. So something like that would represent for us a instruction. That's the one view. Here's the other view. Okay. And this time I'm going to use a different type here. It says waterproofing. Okay. Let's activate that view. I've activated the view. We're dragging the waterproofing in, placing the waterproofing. Just increase the annotation crop so that it shows. And again, we're going to do the number only. We're going to add our leader. Oopsie. Clicked on the wrong thing. My apologies. Let's try it again. There we go. So. And we should actually have set this up within the family itself. I just like to have a little dot, full dot. Okay. All right. So there we've got W1 on the one view, and there we've got R2 on the other view. And now one of the great things that we can do over here is we can create under our schedules, there's something that we call a note block. And if we click on the note block, then we can say, all right, we want to use the note block architectural. Let's name that note block arch. Okay. We're going to add the number, and we're going to add the text. Okay, so there we can see. And then let's drag that in. There's the note block arch. I'm going to drag that into our sheet, expand it a little bit. Okay, so there's R2 and the text associated with W1 and the text associated with that. And what's great about this is when you look at the properties on this, you can see that you can actually look at the sorting and grouping, and you can actually filter by sheet. So if you've used it on another sheet, then it'll only isolate for you what you see on this sheet. And that's brilliant. So now you can have your notes, just like keynotes, filtered out, and you can see the text on the right hand side there. And then you've got some really nice concise nomenclature and or annotations on your plans. So this is what we call a note block in Revit and a note block schedule. And hopefully you can leverage that to your advantage going into the future in Revit. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you, and I hope that you've got a great week further, and enjoy Revit.